Yeah.
All right, we are live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. My guest at this time is a returning guest. She is a professional wrestler and actress. Let's give a round of applause for Roni Nicole.
Hello, Dan. It's so good to be here with you again.
Thank you. For those watching and future watching, you may have seen Ronnie on Danapalooza in October of last year. Um, so for those watching, make sure to also follow the social media handles at the Facebook page of Big Bang Ronnie Nicole and the Twitter handle of Glittericious.
Come follow me, guys. It's a fun time.
That's the plug segment. Always have to plug stuff in. But so tell us, you recently did a show called Into the Heights.
Yeah.
Tell us what it was like with that whole experience going, like, because we know you from In the Ring to being an actress. So
Yes. Well, I've actually always been an actress, but it hasn't been my focus because, wrestling is my heart. And I feel very fortunate to have done so much in a short amount of time with wrestling that I felt like it was appropriate to kind of branch out and explore my other passions and other interests that I did previously before starting wrestling as my professional career. So returning to the stage was nerve wracking because it had literally been so long. Um, at the, I want to say the first COVID break, that's what I'm calling all those times where it would like open back up, but then
yeah,
it would go back into
slowly.
lockdown. Yeah. So after the first COVID break, I actually auditioned for a show and got the lead and was like, what? Like my mind was blown. I was nervous, but it was a straight play, which means, there's no music or anything.
Oh yeah.
Um, but then I saw that In the Heights was coming to the area, and in the history of the theater, it's over 100 years old. This is a staple within the community here in Raleigh. It's very prestigious. A lot of people, have come through this area, but this show has not come through this area. Everybody loves Hamilton, but a lot of people don't know that this show was actually, one of Lin-Manuel's first.
Oh
And
wow.
so it was really, really exciting when I saw that the opportunity came to audition for the show because I was like, this has got to be serendipity because this kind of coincided with me having a breakthrough, realizing, my Afro Latina identity was something I wasn't really able to embrace based on some like family dynamics. And so, after the passing of my mother, I realized that I had more of a freedom even within that grief and that loss. And so this was kind of the universe almost giving me a push to like, yes, this is do this. So they had over 175 people audition for this show over 2 nights. The people that auditioned on my night were so good, I literally forgot there was a whole another night of auditions because that's how crazy the talent was. And so I honestly did not know who was going to get cast because there were just so
Right.
many tremendous people who did so well and just were, you know, blowing people out of the water. And so we had vocal auditions and then we had dance auditions. I literally was so nauseous. I threw up right before I went
Oh
because
no.
I was so like because for me I love to sing, but singing in front of people, that's a whole different thing. And people are
Yeah.
like, well, you're a wrestler, you're an entertainer. I'm like, yeah, but there are different facets to entertaining, and
Yeah.
singing is very intimate. It's something that you really share, a lot of yourself
Oh
with
yeah.
people. And so I didn't know, being in a vulnerable state because of grief, if that's something that I was ready to do yet. And so I was feeling like all of these nerves and just
Mhm.
seeing all of these really talented people go ahead of me. And I was just kind of like, fuck it, whatever. Here we go. So flubbed my song, but I did something that people don't usually do. And I actually picked, well, not usually, but for this particular audition, it was unusual. I picked a male song from Rent, my
Oh, there
favorite
you
song. Yeah, my favorite song, One
go.
Song Glory. And so the accompanist, Michael Santangelo, big shout out to him. He was our music
Mhm.
director. Um, he kept with me and like got me back on board, right? So I did it. I got off stage, breathed a sigh of relief. Then I left and like was panicked because it was like you'll find out Wednesday, maybe. And I
Right.
was like, it was Sunday. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I just went about, my business, and I
Yeah.
had linked up with one of the girls who had also auditioned, and we were messaging each other like, have you heard anything? Have they called you? What's going on? So it was really like nerve wracking because I auditioned for Daniela in the show, who is the salon owner.
Mhm.
Um, and so I really, really wanted her part because I was like, oh, she's like a boss bitch, and it's so fun. Like she's got some of the best
Yeah.
lines, which is so funny. And like the dynamic between her and Carla is amazing. Like, yes, 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 this is what I want to do. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then I got a call. And it was Patrick Torres, the director, who is just a gem of a human being and so open and just gives you the space to create and to emote and just build the character how you feel they're going to be. Um, and I love directors who have a light touch, but also a vision. And he definitely imagined this version of In the Heights in a little bit of a different way than you would see, in other productions. And I loved that. The diversity was off the charts for the community, including sizes and ages. People don't really think about that as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
And he called me and I was driving and I pulled over because I
Right.
was like really nervous. He was like, so listen, we want you in the show, but we want you as Carla, not Daniela. And I was like, oh. And at first I didn't really know how to feel because I was like, I like Carla, but whatever. Okay. And then I was like, yes, like absolutely yes. Because I even put, even if I wasn't cast as principal, I wanted to be ensemble because this show is just so amazing and tells so many beautiful stories of humanity and like loss and change and like prejudice and racism and gentrification and like
Yeah.
capitalism and like true love and following your dreams and like perseverance and culture and life and family and love. And I think those are all things we can relate to on one level or another. And so I was like, yes, absolutely. So I was apprehensive because I'd built up in my mind like how I wanted to be as Daniela. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I had already kind of built out the character as I was going to portray her, but building out Carla actually was a little bit closer to home because as I went through the show, I realized she's very much like me. Like, I think I'm a little smarter than her. I catch on a little bit quicker, but like at the end of the day, she wants the best for everybody around her and for people to be kind to each other and to support those that she loves. And she
Yeah.
feels, when the community is hurting, and she rejoices when the community and those she loves are rejoicing. And, she's always a sympathetic ear and a shoulder and a heart for the people around her. And so I began to really relate to being her on stage. The entire process was so good. It was honestly, I'm still even in another show, I'm still grieving the loss of that production because Patrick did such a great job of casting people that
Right.
became a family. And that's what you need for the show. And that was something that I had seen, different actors on Broadway talk about, was that if they had been in a production of In the Heights, it was an experience that really changed them because of the way the show was written and because of the
Right.
the way you have to be together. You have to go through so much. And with our particular production, we're not post COVID,
Right.
so we had COVID scares and everyone had to, take a week off. We actually lost a week of shows because of one of the castmates getting sick. And then a bunch of us actually, tested positive. So we had to not do the final show, the Sunday matinee of the last week of shows after we
Oh,
were able to
wow.
come back, which was so devastating. But, it left kind of the door open, because we never got to take that one final curtain call together. And it was incredible because we had sold out every single weekend, every
Oh,
night
wow.
and every day on the Sunday matinees. standing ovations every time we performed. Hot crowd, and I say hot, and like people would look at me, and I would forget that I'm from a wrestling world. So like,
Right.
I'm like an enthusiastic crowd, like But
Yeah.
just they were with us through the whole show because it is. Excuse me. It's not as participatory as like SpongeBob,
Hmm.
which is the show I'm doing now, SpongeBob the musical, but you still get drawn into the community. And by the end of it, you should feel like you're a part of the community and you just watched your neighbors play out a scenario in front of you. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
exactly, what happened. And I mean, the cast was tremendous. I just, I love everybody. We had so many fun moments, in the process of creating this show, and the choreography. Big shout out to Payway and James Kobo of Kobo Brothers Dance. Everybody should definitely check them out if you're looking for some amazing salsa, merengue, bachata, any Latin-based dance. They're gonna and more because Payway's phenomenal. They're gonna get you right. But they were our choreographers, and they they definitely brought it with a lot of the big numbers that required that Latin feel of the barrio. So it was, all in all, super long story short, it was a phenomenal experience, and I'm so grateful to have been able to do this show and be with this particular cast, because it really, became my new family in a way.
Most definitely. And thank you, Matt the Cat, for watching. I know you're taking a break at Walmart, Matt, to watch this, so much appreciated. Um, it's interesting that you bring that up of when you have a character in mind and then you get cast a different character. It has happened to me as well. We did the Fantastics, the musical,
So
and I thought I was going to play more of kind of like the older man or El Gallo just based on my age.
yeah.
And I had to play Matt, like the teenager, like
Oh,
in my like 30s. So I'm like,
yeah.
this is really a stretch because, I don't even really remember what I was like at 15 other than
Yeah.
so that sometimes is a stretch, even with like being clean shaven and like, I thought I was gonna be more like what you were saying. I thought I was gonna do smaller singing, I mean singing parts, and not be there. But then when you are like the lead or like of a higher character, you're like, oh, now I have to step it up and and trudge
Yes.
forward, So I give you kudos to that. I'm only sorry that I couldn't be there in person to watch it, but I'm sure it was amazing. So,
I'm gonna post some clips and stuff behind the scenes. I haven't
okay.
done like my farewell post yet because I'm actually kind of hanging on to it, and I know I need to stop because again, I got to focus on the next show. But it was just like such a different experience because I hadn't really, even in other productions or other entertainment things I've done, I haven't ever built relationships with people that quickly and that deeply.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was just such a refreshing thing to experience, especially in the
yeah,
climate of the world right now. It's definitely
right.
nice when you can find a lot of like-minded people who, even if we don't agree on everything, we find a way to discourse and like talk about it, and then
Oh
use
yeah.
that energy in the show in different ways in our interactions and in those beats, where we're allowed to create the neighborhood, so to speak. So it's definitely, it's, I'm not going to say that it's taken the place of wrestling because wrestling will always be number one in my heart, but it's definitely number two. So, yes.
Yeah, neck and neck. But so I'm gonna ask this because I was thinking a little outside the box a little bit. Now you're starting to do stuff in the stage. Would it ever transcend into anything film like, or would you feel more comfortable in the stage alone?
I'm never going to say no to any opportunity that's presented, right?
Right.
Like, I see all the challenges right now with WWE. I
Oh yeah.
personally have mixed feelings about how they treat a lot of their folks of color. but I'm also
Yeah.
not going to say if they slap down a contract that has a big old fat dollar sign that the capitalist in me is not going to take that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm being
Right.
realistic. I have bills.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say no, but I would say that I really am interested in Broadway, like Broadway, you
Yeah.
know, and like maybe doing a Broadway tour, an off Broadway tour or
Right.
three. Like, I want to see what the options are for that. Um, because to me, there's just something so cool about building those relationships with people behind the scenes, you know, like the costuming department. You have to work with them every show, you know, with quick changes and like getting in and out of stuff quickly, and there are mishaps, and like you build friendships with the lighting folks and your stage managers and you know your assistant directors, and like even though they're not necessarily built for long term because the show has a you know a closing
Right.
date and you have to strike, like you still get the opportunity to have a really deep interaction. And I think that's something I'm interested in right now in terms of where I want to take my art, you know, and how I want to connect with people. Because don't get me wrong, we definitely connect when we're wrestling. That's
Oh
our
yeah.
job. You know, we're storytellers in a physical way. That's why I call it a beautiful, brutal art. But there's definitely a disconnect because the audience is outside of the ring and they only get that little bit of time with you, whereas
Oh yeah.
in a show when you're on stage most of the time you get an hour or 2 hours to really dig in and see the
Right.
evolution of people and their relationships and the conflicts and how
Oh
are they
yeah.
going to get in and out of this, you know, in this amount of time. And that's something that's a little meatier, you know, and you get to
Right.
sink your teeth in a little bit more in those experiences. And I think that's what right now I'm kind of looking for. Don't get me wrong, when I went to the Bahamas and got to wrestle for BWE, big shout out to them. That was amazing. Um, can't wait to go back. Looking forward to Trinidad as well. But I definitely I love the stage and the opportunities it could present. And also, I would die, okay, for Elphaba in Wicked on Broadway. Like, no, no other. You know, like
Oh yeah.
just so many things now I envision myself doing when it comes to the stage because the possibilities are really endless. And I have such a fun time. Um, not to toot my own horn, I usually get cast. Do you know what I mean? They know talent when they see it, Dan. In and out of the ring. Holler.
um.
So yeah, Broadway,
So
here I come. But yes, if but I don't want to do the reason I'm iffy about films is because like it's such a subjective thing when people like film. You know what I mean? Some
right.
people love Marvel movies, some people hate them. Like I've seen so many
Yeah.
mixed reviews about Thor. I'm not paying attention. I'm going to go see it like later. But like, you know, then the people who didn't like Multiverse of Madness were kind of getting like told they were haters or whatever. But
Yeah.
then, you know, there are people who like art house movies or French films or so I don't really know like what type of movies I would want to be in also, which is also why I'm kind of like, I don't know. Um, if I was able to be a ninja or do anything where I'm like flying out of something and like shooting a gun and like saving someone and then like pulling a parachute and then looking awesome and landing in an awesome outfit,
Yeah.
I'm down for that for sure. Like
Exactly.
I could do like Liam Neeson,
Uh-huh.
like a version of Taken, but it would be for my dogs. That would be so good.
So what you're saying is you had a set of skills.
Right. I have a particular set of skills and you
If
will
you
not
take my
see them.
dogs, those skills will come into action.
And then you hear my little dogs in the background like, ah, ah. I'm like, yeah, and I'm just like cutting through people to get to them. Yes. And we reunite all together.
Yeah.
I watch it.
There you go. um, I know for myself, it seems like I do enjoy film, but it seems like I'm good at those like little kooky side characters and everything. Like I feel like kind of close to the horror thing because it's like you don't have to take it, I mean, as serious. I mean, depending on, the tone of it, but you can kind of be a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that genre, because then it's not like all these people, like you said, are just reviewing it. It's just, this is what it is. And
Everyone's kind of a critic these days, Dan. You know, it's like people don't just watch things and are be like, huh, that was good, or huh, I didn't like that. And then keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
everyone has to have this long, drawn out, like smoking a pipe analysis of it. Right. Like, oh, that's great. But man, like, dude, just
I
watch the movie and enjoy life. I feel like things are terrible enough around us that we can enjoy things without having to analyze them to death. Because there is deeper meaning in things, but I feel like especially now with the rise of YouTube and like monetization of YouTube
oh yeah.
videos and stuff, like everyone's trying to get a dollar for nitpicking away at things, you know? And it's not like that's not credible art and that's not the way that
Oh
they
yeah.
want to interact. That's fine, but I just personally want to see something and have a good feeling about it or even a bad feeling about it and then go on with my day because I know it's art and it's going to be subjective to anyone. So why, you know,
Yeah.
why
I
whittle it down to that?
definitely. um and so, I think something that might be good for you, or an interesting challenge, or I think might be, is maybe voice work as well. Um,
I keep hearing that. I would love to voice the cartoon. Could you imagine?
exactly.
It would be so much fun. When I was younger, I used to play pranks on my grandma and my aunts
Oh
and
man.
uncles by calling and doing different voices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they weren't as amused as I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would love to do voice acting or voice or like even reading books
Oh yeah. Audiobook.
because
Yeah.
I like to read
Oh yeah.
and I would love to actually I would love to audio read books I like. I don't think you get paid for that though, so I guess I would have to read the books they wanted me to. But
Yeah.
I would love to read Rose Matter by Stephen King. That's one of my
Oh yeah.
favorites. And then the Traveler series by John 12 Hawks. I don't know if you've ever read that, but it is so good.
Oh yeah.
So good. But yeah, I might look into that, Dan. Thank you. Hot tips. Sunday
Yes.
hot tips from
Yes.
Dan the Man. Thank you.
And I think what I might do is I'm going to put a panel together, actually an actor actress panel, uh,
Yes.
if you're interested. And you should
Of
talk
course.
to my friend Michael.
Okay.
Michael lives in New York, and
Okay.
Michael has done off Broadway things. And he also was an opening act for in Malaysia for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, he had to do some singing before.
All of these things are amazing things that you're saying to me, Dan. Put me on. Yes. Let's do it. And yes to panel. I'm
Yes. So
amazing.
I met him in Ohio, actually, back in 2006. I did summer theater, and I was a well, not a set designer. I was a scenic person. I would assist with set design, and he was one of the actors. And he did. They did 5 shows that summer. They did Once Upon a Mattress.
Okay.
They did Arsenic and Old Lace.
Oh, such a good show.
They did Children of Eden.
Okay.
They did Don't Dress for Dinner, which is kind of like play on words.
Okay.
And then they finished with Fiddler on the Roof.
Okay, Fiddler.
I'll tell you, we did a radio spot for Fiddler,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can imagine a whole room, 50 people singing, and then there's like one microphone.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we're singing tradition, and so I would make my voice go a certain way so you could tell
But it
in
was
the
you.
recording, yeah, like
Nice.
Sean, and like I would push, and they'd be like, during the recording in the radio, they'd be like, that you, Dan? I go, yep, I put that little spot,
That's my twist.
put a little
You're
twist on
welcome.
there. But that was something like that, because you can try and imagine trying to get like 40, 50 people in a room and like all
Yeah,
try to sing on key.
oh my gosh. Yes. And listen, there were some times, where if we didn't warm up properly, things were like,
Oh
ooh, that was a little wonky, We got it together, of course, but there was everybody could sing like
Oh wow.
so well, which was amazing because, you know, people think they can sing and then they go to karaoke and it's like, hmm,
This is a
but
different outcome than I anticipated.
right. This was unexpected. Well, uh, but this cast, man, everyone knocked it out of the park. And I realized that a lot of my favorite songs were the ones we sang together, or like were the ones that showcased some like beautiful harmonies that were made unique by the people singing them, because I didn't like them in like maybe the original Broadway show or another production that I had seen.
Hmm.
But within our production, I just, it was my absolute favorite. Um, but yeah, and I listen, one big reason I was excited about the show was all of the hip hop in it, right? And reggaeton. And when we did 96,000, like that was the littest, most party. Like we had such a good time doing all of the stuff that required us to party and want to have a good time together. And the fact that everyone was so talented, it just made it easy. And like once we got it, we could all just really be in the moment. And that was very special because each performance was different. I found myself interacting with the people I was supposed to, of course, when I had my direction, but there was different moments with each cast member, that were able to be created. And I'm looking forward to doing that again very soon, in SpongeBob. But there's just something really special about In the Heights. So if there was another production of In the Heights that was done on film that was done right,
Right.
I would be a part of that because I was not a fan of.
The movie version.
Oh my gosh. Nothing against the performers, right? Because
Yeah,
they're all really
they're
good.
following
But
the
just
direction. Yeah.
right. But I was just like, this is what you did you watch the stage version? Or art is interpretation. I see you took
Right.
that far.
I I have to say that your theater experience is a lot like my theater experience when we did the musical Hair back in 2004.
I can't wait to do hair.
We
Someone's gonna do it. I can't wait.
we did that show, and it was the first time that I had to like do like musical and like in choreography and dancing, and so I just remember also that I had to sing in the microphone, and then like we had these stage cigarettes and everything, and then you had to like puff into that afterwards, and like I thought it was no big deal, and then like I inhaled, and then like I had to
In your
sing.
mic.
I had no breath. I was like, like just wheezing, and it was something else. Between that and then we had scaffolding, so you had to climb the scaffolding,
Fun. Yeah.
and so I remember that there was the choreography, and so sometimes like I would just overdo some of it and everything, like some of it, and like there'd be like there's Dan hamming it up all the way at the top and everything like that, and it was just like it was like because I had a whole platform, I didn't know that people would even pay attention to that part, but like when I
Danny, they're always paying attention.
yeah, and
Damn
so
it.
when I see that I go, that is me doing that.
Listen, my current director Thomas, big shout out to him for SpongeBob the musical,
Oh yeah,
has kind of a monitoring system with me because
oh yeah,
even though the show is a musical, this cast is a little more conservative, and I am usually not. And so it's like, Ronnie, you're at a 15, we need you at an 8. And I'm like, gotcha. Like maybe this scene is a 10. Cool. How far can I go with this one, Thomas? Push it. There we go. Like,
Yay!
yeah, right. So listen, I get you. But somebody said to me, what's people are watching us because I did a photo shoot and there was a big couch that was covered in grass. So it
Oh
looked like it
wow.
was made of grass. It was so cool. So we were standing on top of it, like doing the Charlie's Angels
Yeah.
poses. And the person was with me, he's like, people are staring at us. I was like, yeah, life is a stage. You should get used to it. Like, give them a show, whatever. Like, be yourself. Don't worry about who's staring at you because 9 times out of 10 they wish they could do what you're doing. They're just
Oh
not
yeah.
comfortable enough doing it. So just live your life and stop worrying about it. I mind the business that pays me. They don't. Easy fix.
Exactly. Well, is there anything else you would like to say, plug, or promote before we end Danapalooza?
Oh no, but thank you. Well, yes, follow me. Obviously, my page is Roni Nicole / Big Bag Nicole. You can find me on Insta at Roni Nicole Joshi Queen. There's some underscores in there, guys. Just put it in there. I'm like one of the first to pop up. And follow me on Twitter at Glitterlicious. I am no longer doing my Snapchat, unfortunately, but I will be opening a Patreon, which will have a private Snapchat, so you guys can look for that coming this fall. And make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's going to be coming up with some really cool stuff as well. And make sure you guys go back and check out what I did in February. Sunday sessions, they're really important conversations that the wrestling community needs to have. And I would appreciate if you guys would give them a like and leave your thoughts below. And Dan, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Oh, and for booking appearances and speaking engagements, modeling, and wrestling, and otherwise, you can email me at roninicoleR@gmail.com. Okay, I think that's everything. Sorry, Dan. But yeah, thank you for having me.
All right.
Always, I love, 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 love to you and Tilly Poo. And I hope you have a wonderful Sunday.
All right, we're going to go ahead and end the show tonight. Later on at 6 p.m., Adam Parsons will be on here, who is a pro wrestler. And then we're going to have a duo panel for the virtual film Vert, which is kind of virtual reality. We'll have Morgan Fairnow and Rick Dutro. And then following up, we'll have model and actress Layla Page, who will be on here at 8. So everyone stay tuned. Have a good day.